My name is Vicki Boling Jones. I'm the only daughter of Jerry and Glenda Boling. And I have one brother, Greg, as well. But my mom, Glenda, started the bookstore a little more than 36 years ago now. I say she started it. She didn't start it. She bought it. So originally, if you remember Hawkins, it was Hawkins Bookstore and Hallmark. They were over in the shopping center where, behind Wendy's in that shopping center. The name's escaping me of that grocery store that's there now. But anyway, it was over there. And so my mom worked for years at Standard Telephone Company. She was Dean Swanson's secretary. And I loved her having that job because anytime she would have to go up to do anything extra, I would go with her. And so the executive offices were upstairs. So you got to go into the building, into Standard Telephone, and they had elevators, which was so cool. And we got to go up to the second floor. I think it was the second floor. And that's where all the executive offices were. And I loved going up there with her when I was younger. But anyway, at some point in her life, I don't really know exactly why, but she decided she was going to retire from Standard Telephone and she was going to acquire this bookstore and she was going to keep it going. I can't exactly tell you why because my mom wasn't necessarily an avid reader. And I'm not either. But she did love books and she loved the people more than anything else. She loved the people. So she acquired the store. She did not continue the Hallmark element of it, but she acquired the store and it moved. So it moved to the current location where we've been for the last 36 years, which is by the post office in Cornelia, Georgia. And that's when it became the bookstore, Books with Appeal. And this was her thing. She came here every day. She took care of her customers. She was just very, very in tune with the lives of all of her customers. But it's funny because the connection with the Hawkins, Miss Rita Hawkins was my teacher, was a teacher down at Banks County. So we knew her from that. And then, like I said, her husband was Joe, and they had the photography business and studio. They had bookstore there. They had, it was Hawkins, cards and gifts. You know what a Hallmark store is like, and that's what it was. So we knew them from there. And I also did photos with Joe and Rita too. So when you were setting this up and you had the light thing, it was so funny because it brought back a memory of mine when I was doing photos with Joe and Rita was always responsible for holding the light. So it was a portable light umbrella thing, you know, that she would hold, and the light had to be just right. So when you started setting this up, it made me think about that. But really good memories of them and our connections with them, and that's kind of how Mom knew them. And so she bought the store and moved here, and as books kind of started to, I don't want to say die out, because books are never going to die out, but as things started to slow down, she was constantly looking for other avenues to bring in revenue to the store. And so she started started providing UPS services. So at that time, she was the only place in Cornelia that provided UPS services. And we weren't just a drop-off, because at that time, Amazon and all of these online orders, that wasn't even a thing. It was just people simply coming in to ship a package. And so she became an access point, an authorized service provider for UPS. And so what that meant is that she would package, do packages, and she would ship them off for people. So that's kind of how that started. And then as she just evolved, so as, online ordering and online purchases became a really big deal, she started accepting the returns once that started happening too. So for years she did that. She did special orders for customers that wanted special books. And as the years have gone on, it's really hard to have all of the books that anyone might want. Maybe, yes, if you're a Barnes & Noble or a Books A Million and you go in and they have this enormous space and enormous budget too, to buy all of the popular books. But for independent booksellers, it was hard to do that. But she would do a lot of special orders for her customers, and to the point of delivering those to the customers too. She was so, like I said, in tune with her customers' lives. And I would constantly, when I would talk to her on the phone and she'd be leaving, there's so many times when she'd be, well, I'm going to go by the funeral home because my so-and-so, my customer passed away and I need to go by the funeral home. And I don't even know these people. She's like, you know, whoever it was, my customer. And I said, okay. So it was great. It was wonderful. Her customers loved her so much. As the store has been here over the years, my niece grew up here. She told me the other day, I was like, that's where you learned to use the cash register, right? Because she stayed with my mom when she was little. And she's like, yeah, and write a deposit. That's how I learned to write a deposit. So anyway, it's all really good memories and amazing things. Her friends that she worked with at Standard Telephone, they continued like a little lunch get together and for birthdays, and they would come in here constantly. I think when you were in here yesterday, Miss Barbara Parker was in here, and she's also an artist, but she's one of my mom's friends from working at Standard Telephone. And she would come in and visit, and we had some of her artwork here too that we would sell on consignment. So that's another thing that we did, was bring in consignment for different artists that are local to the area. We have a huge selection of local authors, and so Mom passed away in 2019. My dad wanted to keep the store open. Mom's passing was sudden, so it was kind of a shock to us all. And so Dad wanted to keep the store open along with the help from some of her friends who had been working here. And fortunately, Alicia, which most of you know, Alicia works in here. She's amazing. She is so speedy and so fast with all of the UPS stuff. She helps customers with everything. She's amazing. But fortunately, she started working with Mom about 6 months before Mom passed away. So they were able to make a connection, and she was able to really embrace everything that was going on here. So Alicia has been a godsend. She's an amazing girl, and I appreciate her so much because she's stayed on all of those years since Mom's passed away. So when Mom passed away in 2019, Alicia and my dad and some of my mom's friends continued to keep the business going, and it's just kind of ticked along. Dad passed away in 2024, February 1st, 2024, and so at that point, it was going to be up to me to kind of keep this thing going. And with Alicia's help, we decided to revamp the store, rearrange, make it a little more inviting for shoppers and not just, zip in and drop off your package and leave. Because UPS creates a lot of foot traffic for us, but there's not a lot of revenue that's generated through UPS. So the ideal is that we get the foot traffic and that people spend time. But in our busy world, people don't have a lot of time, especially when they're just dropping off a package. So we kind of rearranged the store, made it more conducive to shopping. We really put a focus on local authors. So we have a whole section against the wall that's all local authors, plus some more that are scattered in. But you'd be amazed at how many local authors there are in this surrounding area, just in Cornelia and the surrounding area. But that's been a great thing. We did some author readings last year through the year on Saturdays. We'd bring the authors in and have coffee and, where they could actually read an excerpt from their book. And that was interesting. We did a big author reception in December of last year for people to come out and shop and do their Christmas shopping and get some books and get them signed and personalized by the authors. So all of that's been great. So unfortunately, in these days, it's really difficult for a brick and mortar store to stay in business. It just is. A lot of times the prices that the big box stores and Amazon can get on things are even cheaper. They're selling it for a cheaper price than as a store that I can buy at wholesale from my providers. So it makes it really difficult to be able to stay in business. So if I could encourage you in any way, I would just say, go support your small, independent, local businesses. Even if you can't go buy from them, just any small way you can support them, like sharing their Facebook post or liking their post or anything like that. It makes a world of difference, and it really does help. It means a lot to them. And if you think about it, those are the organizations or those are the businesses that everyone comes to in the community when they want donations for their local, fundraiser, or they need a giveaway, or they need, all of these things. And so these small businesses are the ones that support that. So just keep that in mind. I would encourage everyone to. Alicia, she's already secured another job, and so she's going to be doing great. I know she is. Everyone has asked me, what are you going to do? What are you going to do now? And I tell people, my dad was a serial entrepreneur. He, up until right before he passed away, he was still walking in the other businesses that we have with new business ideas. And I would tell him, Dad, you should have had more kids. And he says, well, I was planning on you having kids. And I was like, well, sorry about that. But anyway, he left us several other businesses to maintain and keep going. So it's not like I'm just retiring and I'm tired of books or anything like that. I have at least 4 other full-time jobs that I'm doing too right now. So I'll miss this. It's been very emotional for me. I think the whole process over the last 2 years since Dad's passed away has been healing for me, and it means a lot to have all of Mom's customers come in and talk about her, because that touches my heart. It makes me happy. And she did love it. She loved all of her customers, and she loved every bit of everything about it. So come on in, come see us one last time, and hopefully you can spend some money with us. We'd love it. We still have a great selection of books available. We have lots of gift items, and it's a great price. So come see us.